The Ghost and Mrs. Muir will not be presented tonight so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
I mean, it's crazy to see a video of Reeve when he was working out for the part. He actually got mass on his body that you would have thought like, oh, how come that didn't show up on screen? He actually had definition. He was cut. He looked great, shirtless. But as soon as this flattening material came over his body, it's just one tone of light, no shadow deviation or whatever. That's why they sculpt the costumes now, because they want you to see all those little things that might happen in nature that just don't come through cloth.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for another Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Happy to welcome Eric Palicki back to Word Balloon. I want to make sure, Eric, I see the @Eric Palicki on there. I wanted to make sure your microphone wasn't muted. Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you too, John. Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to catch up after I think it's been a couple of years now, three years.
Well, I'm sorry it's been that long, Eric. I'm happy to have you back on. Why my images are sticking? You know, it's so funny. We were talking before we started the show about when whatchamacall gets persnickety. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of an issue, but I will see if I can fix all that. Let's see here. There we go. So, I wanted to talk to you obviously about, you got a Kickstarter campaign. Now, this is a book you've released before.
Yes.
But you've got a new version of it. Atlantis wasn't built for tourists, and there's a great image from the book that could convey the horror edge to this story and maybe some sea creature aspect to the story as well. I don't want to spoil it. I know it's an older book, but first tell us about the book and then the reason for the new Kickstarter.
Yeah. So the elevator pitch that I've been using at shows lately is if you dropped Jack Reacher into a Lovecraftian horror story. It's a neo-Western update on a plot that we've all seen before on A Fistful of Dollars or Yojimbo or half a dozen other versions of that story, but updated with instead of two dueling gangs, it's corrupt cops on one side and vampires on the other. But our drifter character, our man with no name, he has a secret up his sleeve that maybe that cover sort of suggests something. I don't want to give too much away, like you said.
Oh yeah. There's a Kickstarter going on right now. We're in about just over a week left in the campaign.
Yeah,
and so tell us about the Kickstarter, because as I said, this book's a couple years old.
Yeah, so this book, I originally kickstarted a version of this book way back in 2019. It's kind of a passion project that I've wanted to tell for a long time. And I collaborated with Wendell Cavalcanti, who, if anyone knows my work, he went on to collaborate with me as my partner on Blacksmith, the 2 volumes that I did for Ahoy Comics. But this is our first major collaboration together. I kickstarted it in 2019. It was a successful Kickstarter. Shortly after that, I was approached by Scout Comics, who picked it up, serialized it as 4 issues. And then I don't want to go too much into anyone, air anyone's dirty laundry here, but I got the rights back at the beginning of this year. It's a book that a lot of people still talk about, still ask me about. So they came up to me and they said, "Hey, can I get some of this?" Turns out Scout is completely out. I did make overtures to them to see if they wanted to continue our partnership, because they did do right by me for a long time. When those overtures fell on deaf ears, I decided I'm going to just kickstart it. I'm going to put it back out into the world.
Cool.
But because there's my original version and the Scout version out there, I wanted to make this new version something unique. So we're reprinting it in a digest size. So kind of like the DC Compact Classics. And there are
the new reprints that DC is doing right now.
Yeah. Yes.
There's like 5x9. I'm trying to think of a.
They're 5.5 by 8.5 ish.
Okay.
So basically, if you take a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and fold it in half, it's about that size.
I'm hip.
But that's very popular. It's a different size, and we're doing 2 new stories in the back. So there's a new little prequel story, and then there's an epilogue that I wrote. So we've got new material. So there's something for everyone. If you backed the book 5-6 years ago, or you picked up the Scout version, I wanted to give those people something new to read. That's
excellent, man. And I appreciate, again, I really hope you don't mind that I'm using this image from the book.
Oh, no, that's going to be the cover. That's such a fantastic cover.
Go. Okay.
So,
go on.
So that artist, Stephen Russell Black, primarily a fine artist, a painter. He's done a bunch of variant covers. His work adorned a bunch of other Scout work. He's done some Magic the Gathering cards. He's done a few image variants. And when I announced that I wanted to reprint this book, he came to me and he said, "Dude, I've got this cover that we originally had done with Scout for some sort of retailer variant. So it exists, but hardly any copies are out there." And he said, "Use it. I don't have any contractual obligations. Let's put that into print." And it's just a fantastic, beautiful, striking cover that kind of, like I said, it hints at kind of the secrets that are going on behind the scenes in the book.
100%, man. And also, I like and I appreciate it about a lot of my friends that are writers as well, the genre splicing that we're doing here. As you said, certainly it's a modern story, and I'll show a little bit of the interiors in a second, but because I really don't want to spoil beyond what we've seen in the cover and everything. But this is great, man. This is, stranger shows up in a strange town, and it's as you said, there are vampires in the book as well, but our hero has a bit of a secret, and I like that. And also I really like, it's so weird. I remember a couple of years ago, Freeform had that Sirens mermaid show. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And another friend of mine, and really, man, it's different from what you're doing and everything, but I kind of like that we're getting into sea creatures because, no offense, everybody, I'm a little zombied out. I got to be honest.
Totally
it's
fair.
like, and there's zombies, and it's like, that's not new anymore. It's been a long time since Robert came out with Walking Dead, and it was like, oh, that's an interesting, fresh take on zombies. Even Max Brooks with World War Z. But that's why it's like, no, this is good. There are more monsters than this, and also it's fun to see a monster hero portrayed this way.
Yeah, and I really, there's also vampires in it, and I think I feel the same way about vampires that you do about zombies. So when I've had opportunities to tell vampire stories in the past or in the future, or unannounced things, they're always sort of the second class villain. They're always like, I don't have an interest in glorifying or romanticizing the vampire. So I love it when I have an opportunity to let vampires make fools of themselves.
I respect that. All right, I'm bringing up. Let's see if I can find it. Where the hell is it? Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to do it through Brave. Okay, that's the operating system I'm using. Sorry, buddies, all of you that are watching. Also, I should mention, and I Eric and I were talking this as I'm getting the images up. I'm sorry that the book club didn't happen this month. You just saw the commercial for the book club. If you're watching live or listening to the show, we had every intention of doing a new book club this month. Brian's schedule got out of whack. I totally understand. I think in the future, if we do find that situation again, and if I'm given enough lead time, we'll just do even a word balloon through just the patrons version without Brian's Discord. And also, I had made a suggestion of a book. A lot of people on Brian's side are like, I don't know if I want to do that book. Fine, no problem. So our next definitely Bendis / Word Balloon book club will be 100 Bullets Volume 1. Azzarello and Riso, a great start to a fantastic epic story that they told in Vertigo back in 26, back in 99, I want to say, is when it opened and everything. So that's the plan, at least for the next book club, which will happen sometime this month, probably near the end of the month. And yeah, I hope it's okay. But Eric was with us for the last one. So was it fun?
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Like we talked about, I kind of hung back and let you and Brian do your thing and let the Brian's writing class ask their questions. But I am excited to dig in to 100 Bullets. It's an excuse to reread it. I don't think I've read it since it came out back in 99 when I was just a wee lad.
A wee lad, indeed.
Yeah,
I had all black hair back then. I had no gray hair back then.
That was while that book was coming out, I met Azzarello at one of the first handful of C2E2s, and he laid into me for what felt like 10 minutes because he found out I was a Detroit Tigers fan. And he grew up in Cleveland.
Yes,
so,
he did. Yeah.
That was that was around 2008 or 9. That was when they lost their second World Series of the OOs against the Giants. So
Pudge Rodriguez years?
Yeah, towards the tail end of Pudge's years when Verlander was still with them and Scherzer.
I don't pay attention like I did in my sports radio years because especially being in Chicago, and it was too heartbreaking. Even with the Bulls championships, it's like, and again, first and foremost, I was a baseball guy, and it's like, oh man. And I know 2005 we had the White Sox and everything, and of course later, 11 years later, we had the Cubs. But yeah, man, no, too many heartbreaking seasons. My favorite was when the Marlins took over in the for the pennant, the Bartman year, if people notoriously remember. And man, me and my college roommate, I mean, literally, he was like at the verge of tears before that game, and he's like, "I really think they can win this year," and I'm like, "Yeah, so do I." Like children. But again, once again, and that's honestly, man, I don't know if you're paying attention to the National Central. But certainly the Cubs had a magic season until August. And I don't know if they're going to make the wild card or not. I really, as I got older and the many disappointments, it's like if they make it to the postseason, even if they have a great regular season and don't make it to the postseason, fine. And that's the thing. This season was so entertaining so that if they crap their pants now, all right. That's cool.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like the Tigers had that magic season where going into August last season, they had a 0.5% chance of making the playoffs, and they squeaked in the wild card, which was great. And they're doing great this year.
Forgive me. How are they? Where are they in the standings? What's happening?
They're top of the AL Central, and
cool.
They keep moving in and out of first place in the entire American League with Toronto right now. So,
my friend Allison Baker of Monkey Brain Books, and of course, one of the powers behind iZombie with Chris Robertson and shame on me, the great artist.
It was Allred, right?
Mike. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. Mike Allred. Yeah, she's a massive baseball fan, and last year she really got on me, and she's like, let's do a baseball episode. I'm like, all right, we'll see. And, I'm like, all right, whatever. And, I'm like, before the playoffs started, I have two friends. They're actually a married couple, and they work in the White Sox scoreboard. And one does the trivia, and the other is the person that's constantly scanning while games are running and updating the scoreboard with the other games. So I'm like, cool. Yeah. And it's great. And she's like, well, let's do another one of those. I'm like, sure. Let's do it now. I'm like, no. I go, San Diego just happened, even though it was like, a month and a half ago. I'm like, no, this is busy season. I go, let's wait till right before the playoffs. So I don't know, Eric, if you'd be interested, if you're that much of a baseball fan. Ryan Brown, I know is a massive baseball comic book fan and also another Tiger fan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's funny. I know a handful of you all that are still big sports fans. I got to be honest, man, after 16 years of sports radio and having to pay attention, it's like, it was really, I'm like, that's enough. Like as far as the day-to-day stuff. And that's why it's like, oh, and I'm like, so yeah, at the beginning of August, how are things going for the Cubs? Oh. And I knew you could see it. They great run production, not great middle relief, little trouble on the closing. And it's like, eventually it's going to catch up to you, man. I hope they make the adjustments. And again, we still got a full month or close enough to a full month of baseball. We'll see what the Cubs do. And I hope, how many, do you know how many games ahead the Tigers are? I love this baseball.
They're like 5.5 games ahead. Like I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about them in the postseason. I'm not worried about them getting there.
Who are the threats on the other divisions?
Well, you've got
literally, you're talking to.
You've got you've got the whole East with Toronto and the Yankees are knocking at their door.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I've got some images here of Atlantis wasn't built for tourists. Here you go. So here's a great example of your interior artist. Give me his name again. Forgive me.
Wendell Cavalcanti did the interior art, and then Mark Dale is the colorist.
Beautiful, man. Really fantastic. Look at this stuff, guys. Unbelievable. So yeah, again, I'll leave it. I'll leave it at these opening panels, but really, really gorgeous, man. And as you said, he worked on Blacksmith with you. I'm going to put the a little more of the hyphen between the words than what you initially said, just to remind people that it is, with that, because it could be blacksmith with iron bands and guy with a hammer pounding on an anvil. But no. We're talking about Blacksmith, which is another great genre splicing idea that you had for Ahoy. Will you be getting back to that?
So I don't know. I don't know if Tom has snipers in the building. I am doing another book with Ahoy.
Hey, awesome!
But it's going to be a different. It's going to be different.
Okay.
It's a different world. Hopefully, it hews a little closer to their funny Vertigo mission statement. I love Blacksmith. I am really proud of that book, but it has the dubious distinction of being their least humorous title. So,
yeah, and you're right. That's the Ahoy humor is the Ahoy flavor. So I can appreciate that. Well, that's cool. And you said the new thing is going to lean more towards the humor side.
Yeah, it's going to be humorous. It will be, it will be announced in more detail in October at or around New York Comic Con. When all those announcements happen, it's another one of your busy months.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Yeah. I will not be in New York, but I will certainly be trying to pay attention to any announcements. I blew it. I was just talking to the guys last night, and I totally forgot that Marvel announced that, or I should say, really, Abrams is publishing that John Byrne fan X-Men thing that he did. And I don't know what they're calling it, but obviously with Marvel's consent. And I told, I had CB for an hour, actually 2 different times at Terrificon, and I blew it, and I totally forgot to ask him about that. I know it's not, coming out till next year, so there's plenty of time, but still, it would have been nice to get some sort of initial comment from CB.
What an incredible project to just be like whiling away on fan fiction for 20 years, and then Marvel picks it up and runs with it.
Yeah.
Now they just need to publish the. I'm sure you're aware of the Spanish language, the Mexican Spider-Man stuff, where Gwen Stacy never died.
Yes, I am. Yes, it is. That stuff is interesting. That's like Marvel Man in the 50s, and certainly more simplistic. But when they essentially, the reason why Miracle Man exists, everybody, if you don't know, is because the British publisher was doing the Marvel family and doing Shazam, Captain Marvel, and Mary and Junior. And then the book, the American book stopped, and there was still demand for it. So Mick Foley back in the day just kind of reconfigured the characters of Marvel Man and young Marvel Man and Kid Marvel Man for that matter, as opposed to Mary. And we got the Miracle Man family instead. And I kind of love that that's what they did. So no, I always love hearing, stuff like that, or even Marvel UK and how they added different pages and panels to existing Marvel stories from the 70s and kind of made them different, or really purely, again, Marvel UK's exclusive. Some of the Planet of the Apes stuff that Marvel was doing in the 70s was just for the British audience and stuff. So yeah, I love shit like that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
There you go, man. So Kickstarter, how has because you had, well, certainly for Atlantis, you've used it before. How and previous to that, for instance, the book you did with Adrian, no myth, no angel.
No Angel was actually originally a Black Mask book that came out through Black Mask. It was I'm
love those guys. Love those
contemporary guys. of Rosenberg and Vita Ayala and Teeny and all those all the people we love, right?
It's
true. That was a great group to be a part of.
Yeah, are they still out there or no? Or I'll be honest.
Black Mask?
Yeah.
They do things occasionally. I know that there are things in the works. Last I talked to Matt Pizzolo, who's the editor-in-chief, he has some things in the works.
That's great.
So yeah,
it's honestly, Eric, if you think of it, and I'll try to remember to remind you, send me his email because I'd love to talk to him, and also when it makes sense, if they have new projects or whatever, because I really did appreciate everything they did. And again, the creators that you mentioned, are fantastic, and I'm so happy for them that they've made the leaps that they have. But yeah, I think it's neat. So I wanted to know though, do you see a difference in the Kickstarter market? Because also Atlantis was pre-COVID, right? When you first did it?
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. It is doing very well based on my previous Kickstarter experiences. As we're recording this, I'm about 9 days out from the end of the campaign. We're already funded. We're working towards a couple of stretch goals, which will probably put some more material in the back of the book, hopefully. And I'm used to kind of those nail biter moments where it's like, okay, I've got 72 hours to go and I need $400. Who's gonna pitch in? And everything has always worked out for me, but to already be funded with over a week to go it's a nice place to be.
Absolutely, man.
And I think that COVID really opened it up as a viable alternative. I do think, that you have been fantastic about highlighting guys like when Carl Kiesel was doing his Kickstarter, and highlighting all of the other Kickstarters that are out there. But I do think that there is kind of an opportunity for people like The Beat to shed a little bit more light on the Kickstarter ecosystem, because the most successful Kickstarter publishers, I think, are really going toe to toe with, obviously not Marvel and DC or even, Image Dark Horse, but some of those publishers on the lower end of the top 10, the Kickstarter ecosystem is blowing them away.
Well, as you know, with Diamond kind of going in the shitter, and unfortunately, I'm trying to think, Lunar and Penguin, right? Penguin Random House.
Penguin Random House.
Yeah, they're the ones that kind of picked up the Diamond slack. But sadly, there's no more room at the inn. And I forget the name. It's American or America is in the title, but they were publishing the newer Three Stooges comics and stuff. And they were very public about, hey, Diamond's gone. We're kind of screwed. And that's why I even asked about Black Mask and wondered about Scout and some of the lower tier publishers, because it's tough out there. So I can see where Kickstarter is able to compete with that next tier of publishers.
Yeah, I mean, it's competitive. I think you pay a little bit. You have to pay a little bit more per book when you're backing a Kickstarter project. Like, the economics aren't there.
Sure,
but the numbers, I can see the numbers starting to climb, and it does give you an opportunity to do these really nice well packaged books. You know, I just got the first John Sable reprint that Mike Grell is doing through Kickstarter. Like, it's a gorgeous hardcover. And I got the Good Omens hardcover that Colleen Duran illustrated. So there are some, you know, there's some really nice opportunities. What Clover Press, which I think is a division of, it's the same guy who started IDW, but I don't think.
Oh, I didn't, actually, you know, shame on me. I didn't realize that. I assume, and I know a lot of the IDW execs jumped over to Clover Press, but I didn't realize that if they are still a division of IDW, I you know, again, because they, a lot of similar products in terms of the reprinting of some of the comic strip stuff that IDW used to do, and now Clover is doing and things. What did you get from Clover?
Oh, you know what? It wasn't Clover. I just saw that they had a nice art book that's running right now. But I did get from Zoop the Skymaster Sunday strips. That's Jack Kirby, Wally Wood.
Oh yeah,
that's gorgeous book and a really nice package.
Yeah, I got a previous version of Skymasters years ago, and yeah, that's, if folks, if you've never seen it, you got to get it, because it really, that's really great stuff. I was laughing with Chaikin at Terrificon mentioning Wally Wood. I don't know how aware you are of some of those 70s comics that he did for the military, and it was a military magazine, and one was called Shattuck, which was a Western. And I'm blanking on what the more adventure book was called, and maybe someone in the chat will remind me.
So these are oh, sorry, these are more like serials to entertain the troops versus like what Eisner did, which were instructional.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Absolutely.
I had
pure
no
entertainment. Yeah, pure entertainment, and frankly, very R-rated, very much sex and nudity all over the place, and violent. Cannon was the other one. Cannon is the action adventure. Honestly, more sensitive younger readers might take offense. You got to remember this was being done during the later days of the Vietnam War, so there is a bit of a Southeast Asian anti-bias. I don't know what Woody's politics were, and also, again, it was a different time, so there wasn't the concern about portrayals of people of color that there are correctly now. Again, I was just making this point last night on the show. It's like I'm all for the modern differences, but it is interesting to see, especially people even younger than us, Eric. I mean, I got years on you. I know I got a lot of years on you, but
you don't have that many years on me.
But well, all right, whatever. Well, you know, again, well, you'll forgive me, but you know, you and Adrian seem a lot younger by a couple decades. But regardless, you know, that there are those of both millennials and the younger demographics too that are horrified by, you know, Hogan's Heroes horrifies them, and I get it. I absolutely get it. But it was like, well, it was a joke, and the Nazis are knuckleheads in that, and you know, they're sitting on celebrating it. But I mean, God, even when and forgive the tangent, but I even remember seeing there's a black and white commercial promoting Hogan's Heroes for the fall season, and the comedian Stan Freberg is interviewing Bob Crane, and his initial question is, so it's a sitcom set in a World War II prison camp, and he's like, yeah, that's right. And he goes, always great for a situation comedy to be put in a Nazi war camp. Okay, sure. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, so they were making fun of it even back then, and even it ends with Freberg going, so should we say if you loved World War II, you're gonna love Hogan's Heroes? And Hogan's like, I don't think we should say that. So, but anyway, Cannon and Shattuck, everybody, if you're interested, Howard assisted on those Woody comic strips, and they're in a great collection. You can even buy them Kindle wise if you can't find the hard versions anymore. And if you can stomach it, if they're really interesting, and it's 1970s Wally Wood. Again, forgive the tangent, but mentioning Skymasters, I'm always happy to talk a little bit about Wally Wood.
I always, like I said, I think I said this on Blue Sky after one of your King's Speech episodes, is that I love when I listen to a word balloon and I walk away and I feel like I have homework.
Oh,
that's because you and Tom will always pull up the most ridiculous, you know,
obscure
noir
shit.
movie that, you know, Eddie Muller just showed this movie on TCM, so you guys need to see it. And it's wonderful. It's always great. I always have a running list of things I need to see.
And not only when I talk to Tom, I get the recommended list when I talk to Chaikin.
Yeah,
because Howard is always informing me about movies and books that I've never read, and it's like, oh, that sounds cool. All right, writing it down.
Yeah, it's the movies, books, musical theater, whatever Howard's into, right? Who knew? 100%. Who knew?
My current rerun passion is a lot of TV westerns from the late 50s and early 60s, beyond the obvious. And I found one that's a weird, and as a man who genre splices as you do, a show called Black Saddle ran 2 seasons. And it's this actor, Peter Breck, who made a bigger splash a couple of years later in a Western series called The Big Valley with the great film actress Barbara Stanwyck. And Lee Majors was in it like 10 years before The $6 Million Man. Linda Evans was in it 20 years before Dynasty. That's the interesting ensemble show. Before this, though, Breck, who is one of the brothers in this family, is in this Black Saddle, and he is a former gunslinger turned lawyer, and he still has to pull out the guns every now and then. But it's as much a Western courtroom drama, which is fantastic. And the guy who plays the sheriff is Russell Johnson, the professor from Gilligan's Island, about 5 years before Gilligan. Wow. So it's like, oh, please, where do I sign up? And they're half hours. That's another thing, Eric. I don't know how much you look at old drama, but I am more fascinated by the 30-minute dramas than the 60-minute ones, because they have to tell a lot of story and characterization, even back then where there were less commercials, in 25 minutes. And that's a hell of a trick. I don't know if you ever, dissect that stuff from that standpoint.
Oh, John, you're a man after my own heart, because I have been burning through Have Gun Will Travel, which is, a fantastic Western, but that's one of the obvious ones.
Yeah, but that's great, man. Again, you're young, and I respect that. That's wonderful that you're finding joy in that.
They're all 30 minutes, and it's a complete story, and you can... I watch them and dissect them because, as a writer of comics, I think that they do something that comics today a lot of times is sorely missed. Like when I started reading comics, back in my day, I went down to 7-Eleven and comics were $1. So, I know they were cheaper before, and they've been a lot more expensive since. And I could take my $5 allowance and buy 5 books.
Yeah.
And it was, whatever issue of X-Men, whatever issue of Wolverine, Spider-Man, Green Lantern. And I just jumped into the story, and it gave me something that felt complete. And I don't know that we're getting that with a lot of what everyone's publishing right now. And it's really disappointing.
Chapters of one story. I mean, that was my back when I first started coming back to conventions in the early 2000s, and I'd go to Casada's Cup of Joe panels at Wizard Chicago and the like. And he's like, well, it's like a TV show, okay, we're going to continue the story next week. I'm like, yeah, but the difference is it's not next week, it's next month. And that's a long time to wait between chapters, man. And this was at the height of what they called decompression back then. I don't know if they still call it that or not. And I also honestly think, Eric, that both DC and Marvel are kind of, or at least some of the individual creators are kind of hip to that it's like, no, we really got to make, especially given now that the average comic is $5. We need more story and more one-shots or two-parters, things like that. Or even as DC has been playing with the front story and backup stories that they're putting in some of their current books and stuff. So I really do. And also, my God, I don't know if you've had that opportunity yet, but I really am impressed by the anthologies they do, like before Valentine's Day, and you got a bunch of romance stories. I got the air quotes up, everybody, for the audio audience. But that it seems like they're finding the ability of telling a really full story in 10 pages with a lot more ease than what I noticed in the previous 20 years, frankly. So, yeah, I mean, I do think that they're mindful that maybe decompression and a 5-month, 5-part story, you better make every part count and give us something.
Yeah. And I think there's room for both, right? Like we do have, the equivalent being, say, Lost, where, you have to tune into every single episode and pore over every single episode to get your story. But then you've also got, Chicago Fire or whatever, where I can just dip into an episode.
Yeah.
And it might be kind of rote and tired, but it's at least it's a full story.
Yeah, and also procedurals, they still work. That's why they're still new ones are being made, like Chicago Fire and all the Chicago umbrella titles and things. So no, I'm with you on that. But also, a lot of times, I think the better long form season long story shows, whether it's streaming or on the networks, they still give you one problem of the week to get resolved. And I think, and again, I think the better comic book writers are realizing they got to get back to that.
Yeah,
and not just,
I agree with you.
portions of a graphic novel. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, the platonic ideal TV wise is, Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel, where you've got the season long big bad to deal with, but every episode is still, and even now you can go back and you can just revisit one episode. You don't have to to watch the whole shebang.
I have to admit, it's funny. I came to, because again, I was in my 40s when Buffy was happening. And I had a boss that was really into comics as well. And he's like, "Do you watch Buffy?" And I'm like, man, I'm 40, whatever. I don't know if I'm into teen drama anymore. And he goes, "Well, you got to watch Angel." And it was right before the 5th season of Angel. And he goes, "Think of Angel almost like plainclothes Batman." And I'm like, well, I'd watch that. All right. And luckily, that last season of Angel was so great. And at the time, TNT was running the reruns of the previous seasons. So I'd DVR those and catch up and everything. And I'm like, oh, Angel's really good. So, well, now you got to watch Buffy. And I'm like, yeah, I suppose I do. Okay. And of course, I was more than delighted. Buffy is an amazing show that obviously hangs heavy, I think, in the current crop of screenwriters in fantasy and science fiction today, sometimes to a bit of too much of a degree. Star Trek. But, you'll forgive me. Can't help it. But
no,
go ahead. But I was going to say really fast is I'm kind of psyched for the reboot. I'm very interested to see what they do with the reboot.
I'm very excited I'm excited to see what they do with the reboot. I am excited that your entry into Buffy was Angel season 5, which I think is the best single season of both the shows. It's maybe my favorite series finale ever, even though it was an accident.
Oh man, I so
Butch
agree.
And Sundance ending is so great.
I kind of want to fight the dragon. Everything about it, and also just how individually all the other Angel acolytes are dealing with something, and especially, man, the wonderful Andy Hallett, who played Lorne the demon.
Yeah.
And man, I'm okay with this. It's been 20 years since the finale, but man, what a great turn. That's the thing, man. And really, you could say it about the Buffy characters as well. These characters had amazing turns. Or Illyria, Fred. Oh my God, can I lie to you now? Yes, please lie. Oh my God, I cry when I see that scene. Still, 20 years later.
I mean, and that episode where Fred dies and becomes Illyria too, that is heartbreaking.
I want to stay. It's like, I want you to stay too, Fred. Don't go. Yeah, man. No, I'm sorry. The Whedonverse had teeth. I'm sorry, it did. And yeah, I mean, again, beyond the obvious. Oh, that's hilarious. Jerry agrees. Oh my God, season 5. Oh, he disliked it so much. Jerry, I'm sorry, man. Because after all the heaviness of 4, I really appreciate that. It's like, all right, now we're in charge. And things are a little crazy. And I mean, it's funny because literally, again, you'll forgive me, everybody. I'm referring to the episode last night on YouTube. I haven't released the audio yet. But I bought, I don't know, I accepted the comedy of Angel a lot easier than I have on some of the more goofier new Star Trek episodes, especially Strange New Worlds. Here he says, Jerry says, except for the final 6 episodes or thereabouts for Angel season 5. And yeah, I don't know, man. I really liked it. I kind of liked the fish out of water prospect of, oh my God, we're in charge of the thing that we've been fighting since season 1. Now what? And
Well,
can we really change this the direction of this evil corporation?
Right. And in the meantime, you get that one-off episode about the luchador wrestler who there's not a lick of English spoken that whole episode, and it's fantastic. or the puppet episode that was written by Ben Edlund of The Tick.
Yep.
So
had the pleasure of talking to Ben. I should actually, when I'm doing my reruns, I don't think I've ever rerun that. And Ben is I don't know if you ever had the pleasure, dude.
No, I've not.
Very interesting guy. I mean, that guy's brain it's kind of like my good friend Art Baltazar, where it's like, I don't know how that brain works, but I love it. And I love hearing him talk. And yeah, Ben's amazing. And sorry, dude, I keep giving some of my Star Trek grief. I hope the puppet Star Trek episode is going to be okay. But it's like, okay, Angel had a hell of a lot more episodes by the time they did it. And it was so funny and crazy. And there are things about the Buffyverse that I will accept because it's magic.
Right.
Star Trek's supposed to be science. And the latest episode really had nothing to do with science. And they tried so hard to provide some sort of, quote, pseudoscience, scientific reason why. And it's like, God, and I'm so pleased that other critics who normally do love the show are like, I'm not buying this. I'm sorry, as far as how you got there.
It has, like, the first season of Strange New Worlds is fantastic. It is. Okay. It's the first Trek, I think, that's felt like Trek since Voyager went off the air.
I'm hip.
Or
even Enterprise, even to a degree, Enterprise.
Yeah. But man, it's been diminishing returns and just burning all of that goodwill that the first half of the first season gave you.
I'm hip. I agree.
What
are you gonna do?
It's just unfortunate. I did like the crossover episode with Lower Decks, but I think that worked because Lower Decks has that's the only reason that one worked, is because Lower Decks has already given you that comedy.
I completely agree. And there still was enough Star Trek in it. And I don't know. And also it even felt like the animated characters, when they were portrayed in live action, were even toned down a little bit and not as manic as they were in Lower Decks. And I really, my opinion of Lower Decks evolved. I wasn't crazy about it the first season, but every season I liked it a little bit more till the end, where I'm like, no, okay, this is good. And yeah, I whatever, as far as Star Trek, that's their choices. I have friends that really have gotten to know the cast, and they're like, well, they're having fun. Wonderful. I'm glad they're having fun. They still have to entertain us. And some people are entertained by the gimmick episodes. I'm not. It's that simple. But anyway, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, between you and Larry Young, in his dork court, I am. I realize I can take a step back, and I don't have to prioritize watching this show right now, because you guys,
Strange New World. Sure. Yeah. What are you gonna do? That's all right. How's Adrian doing? Eric's sister, everybody, as I like to call her.
So she's doing well. It's funny you brought up No Angel. Again, things I can't really talk about right now, but if you find yourself at New York Comic Con, I know unfortunately John's not going to be there, but I'll be in Artist Alley. My sister will be there too, and we might have something new to talk about.
Outstanding.
So, and maybe we can talk about it in a little bit more
after the announcement, if there is an announcement.
After the announcement, I'll drag her ass on. And
that'd be great, man.
Yeah.
Oh God, dude. And forgive my self-consciousness, but man, when I met her, I was really at my fattest, and it's just like, geez, I look like that guy. I don't know if you know your old Guinness Book of World Records, but I look like the guy that should be buried in the piano case. Unfortunately, world's fattest man. And listen, she doesn't care. Of course, she doesn't care. But it was like, oh, that's awesome. I'm next to Adrian, and it's like, oh man, look at you, Jesus Christ! But I've lost 50 pounds since then, so I'm getting there, buddy. I hope when I
Yeah.
see you next face to face, you'll see it more and everything. But again, you'll forgive my self-conscious. Regardless of that, could not have been more delightful. She's such a lovely person, and that's great that you guys made No Angel. Remind people, pardon me, No Angel.
No Angel, yes.
Okay, you'll forgive me.
Yeah.
I keep wanting. There's that Michael Penn song, No Myth, from my
Yes.
youth in the '90s, and I keep wanting to say No Myth, and especially with Black Myth as well.
Yeah.
So no, No Angel. Remind people of that great story and what it's about.
Yeah. No Angel was a 4-issue miniseries that my sister and I wrote together for Black Mask Studios. 2016, 2017-ish. My dates are fuzzy. Everything there's just before COVID and after COVID, right?
We're all like that, man. Absolutely. Go ahead.
It's another supernatural mystery about a woman who discovers that she may or may not have been descended from angels, and whether or not that's true may have gotten her father killed. So she draws herself into the murder mystery, and it opens up a whole supernatural world for her.
War vet, right? War veteran?
Yes. She was, we were really kind of, my sister is, she's tall, which is why she got cast as an Amazon one time.
Yes, she
so
did.
We really kind of wanted to do something that she would have in her back pocket to walk into studios and sell as a starring vehicle for her. So we really played up her height and stature in the story.
Okay, if you can't connect the dots, folks, and you don't know, Adrian did a pilot that you can find on YouTube of a proposed Wonder Woman series that unfortunately didn't happen. This was the New 52 era, because she wore the pants like Jim Lee designed Wonder Woman with. But no, she would have been a great Wonder Woman. It's a shame that it didn't happen. Thankfully, we did get her for 3 seasons of Orville. 3.
It's 3 seasons of the Orville.
Yeah. And my God, and of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. And no, I'm so happy for her, and I really wish your sister nothing but continued success. And I think she will have a long and fruitful career. And it would be great if No Angel got picked up, because I think it'd be a great vehicle for her, great credibility for both of you. And are there other TV things that you're trying to pitch, or movie things that you're trying to pitch?
So, I mean, Blacksmith is out there. There was a little interest during the Scout years for Atlantis Wasn't Built for Tourists. In fact, we had some discussions, but those never went anywhere, unfortunately. I think it was actually a Jeff Loeb quote that I read in Wizard magazine way back in the day, where he talked about, his wilderness years in Hollywood, and how he'd write a screenplay and sell it, and then it would go in a drawer somewhere. And creatively, that just doesn't feel fulfilling to me. So
I get it.
And that kind of brings me to Kickstarter, right? Because I can make the comics that I want to make, and put them on Kickstarter where it's sink or swim, and maybe they'll find an audience, and hopefully that happens, and they're not just sitting in a drawer somewhere.
Agreed, man. And also, as the corporate belts of Disney and Warner's have tightened and kept certain stories from happening, whether they're for the screen or in comics. I mean, obviously, the classic recent example was Warner's and the Batgirl movie. And, just for an accounting standpoint, for them to pull that movie, we're seeing it with the Looney Tunes movies that they're making. And thank God that Ketchup company that distributes, they did the Daffy and Porky Pig movie. It looks like they're doing the John Cena Acme movie that Cena made. So that's good. But no, man, I mean, this is part of my recurring conversation with Jimmy Palmiotti and what he and Justin Gray, and when Amanda's part of the team as well, that they can make their own R-rated comics and not have to worry about, well, I don't know if that's going to fly. Don't forget, we're still Disney or we're still Warner's. And it's like, we don't care. And again, that's one of the reasons why I bring up those Woody early 70s comics and stuff, that, I think there is a freedom from creator owned. And again, I'm glad that the Kickstarter community is out there. Are you finding regulars? Do you have a community that you've maintained since?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and then it becomes a network because I have, there are a number of other indie creators in the Kickstarter, the crowdfunding sphere generally, and we're all pointing our readers at each other's work, and so yeah, and then it builds and builds and builds, and first Kickstarter had 70 backers, which was fine, and now it's 3 and 500, so it's it built. You know how it goes, right? You start out with podcasting to 10 people, and before you know it, you got 50,000 listeners. So
absolutely, man. No, and it is gratifying, each threshold of listenership that I've experienced in the 20 years. That it's like, oh, that's great. Oh, really? That many? Oh, wonderful. Yeah, actually, I'm having a very big download day today. Not sure why, but I am. And it's like, okay, wonderful. People are catching up, checking all those Terrificon panels that I did in August, and some of the new stuff. If I may, I'll promote the fact that later this week, Eric's really good to join us on Labor Day, but also tomorrow night, Philip Kennedy Johnson's coming on to talk about the Hulk and Superman, his new Superman book. And Wednesday, as Eric and I were talking off the air, Matt Fraction joining us with a little book. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Batman, and they're going to have a #1 issue. I wonder how that's going to do. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun coming up this week on Word Balloon. Beyond this fantastic conversation I'm having with Eric, you mentioned stretch goals, Eric. Are there other thresholds and bonus stretch goals beyond the 2 extra stories we're getting?
Well, we already blew past the first stretch goal, which is I've already ordered. I printed out some. We're getting stickers made of that awesome Stephen Russell Black cover. So everyone will be able to have one of those, a pretty big 2-inch by 3-inch decal that they'll be able to slap on their laptops or back of their car, whatever they want to do.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna start teasing out some more material into it. Hopefully I can get some pinups. I really want to get this printed and out the door before Christmas. So writing new material is probably not in the cards, but getting some pinups, getting some friends of mine to do some more original artwork to stuff in the back is what I'm hoping to do with those stretch goals.
But am I right, for the digest, you've already written and drawn, you both have drawn the new supplement stories.
Yeah, the new supplemental stories are both are illustrated. One is off to the colorist this morning. So
okay, excellent. Well, that's plenty of time. There you go. Good deal. Excellent. And people can get if they don't want the hard version, they can get can they get a new PDF of or whatever format?
Yep. They can get a digital edition. I have a couple of digital tiers where one comes not just with this, but also a library of all my other work, all my other independent work, everything that I have the right to distribute digitally, I will throw into that, which comes out to 500-600 pages of material.
That's excellent.
So,
wow. Yeah. Fantastic, man. And are you offering the other books again, because they're Ahoy or Black, other books that were from other publishers and stuff? Are you able to offer?
I have a handful of my other Kickstarter books are available as add-ons or in bundles, but I always am a little reluctant to do that because I don't want this to feel too much like a garage sale, right? I want this to feel like, I have 5 copies of Blacksmith lying around, but those will go to a convention instead of it feeling like I'm just doling them out here.
I understand. So, I understand. The Blacksmith story, is that already traded and everything?
Yeah, there's 2 volumes of trade. There's Blacksmith, and The Key to His Heart is the 2nd volume. So
beautiful. Yeah. Fantastic.
Werewolf Private Detective, for people who aren't familiar with that, 2 volumes through Ahoy Comics, which Ahoy is doing some really great stuff with the Toxic Avenger right now, and Babs, which is Garth Ennis's book, and they are good. And of course, whenever Mark Russell's got something new, and Tom Pyre and Jamal with The Wrong Earth, all that stuff. No, it's and Stuart Moore and his Ahoy output and everything. No, good people over there, and I really respect Ahoy, and also recognizing that it's like there hasn't been consistent great humor books out there. Every now and then, it's funny. I never put 2 and 2 together. Steve Lieber doing the Jimmy Olsen maxi series with Fraction, but also Superior Foes of Spider-Man that he did with Nick Spencer. And it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, there you go. So there's a couple, but those are like, and like when Squirrel Girl gets her own title and things like that, you get these kind of odd ducks here and there, and that's what I love about Ahoy, where it's like, no, this is the business we're in. We're in the funny business, and they still have good stories surrounding the funny, and I mean that's like it can't just be joke, joke, joke. I guess it could, but we're still on a story, and I think their editorial team and also the creators are mindful of that. So we're getting both, so that's good.
Yeah, like we taking it back to the start of the conversation, and Buffy and Angel have a sense of humor, right? They're not comedies, but they have a sense of humor.
Yeah, but again, there's at least if and again we're talking about fantasy and supernatural and everything, but there is a level of at least character truth. Like Xander and Anya's relationship. That's a tough relationship, and it's a shame, and you're sad. Willow and poor Tara, who I've had the pleasure of hanging out with and stuff. I mean, no, these are great story idea, and of course the tragedy of Buffy and Angel. Oh my God!
Right.
Again, when I finally got to that moment when, she stabs him and pushes him through the dimension and stuff, it's like, oh, it's like, oh man, there he goes, man, the love of your life. What are you gonna do? So yeah, like I said, it grew on me, and now I'll admit. But did you listen to Slayer's? The Audible alternate universe thing?
You talked. No, I do need to listen to that.
It's good. It really is good. So yeah, it's sitting on Audible. Everybody, if you're if you need an itch to scratch before the reboot starts again, I would absolutely recommend Slayers. Everybody but Sarah Michelle Gellar seems to be back for it, and it's fun. It's a lot. It's a cute alternate universe version of the Buffyverse. And definitely worth your time. Would you ever want to do audio drama, Eric? Have I asked you that before?
I think you asked me when I was on, a couple of years ago, and I think my opinion has changed. And I think absolutely yes. I mean, the stuff that that Ben Percy has done with for Marvel and the DC books, they're the DC stories, the Harley Quinn one that the actress who voiced, or who was the original one, not the original, but the 80s Wednesday Addams.
Oh geez, I don't know. Wow. I didn't know about the Harley one, but I was thinking of the Flash and Batman audios that are on HBO Max that people can find. And those are great. But yeah, and I agree with you about Ben and what Ben's been doing at Marvel's audio stuff. Yeah.
Although, Ben has a voice where he should be Wolverine. Like, holy cow.
I know. Deepest, as I always say, deepest voice in comics. I don't think there is anyone who's got a deeper voice than Ben. I love Ben. He's great. He was at C2E2 this year. Were you there, man? Did I miss you? Were you there?
I did, and I walked by
I'm sorry, man.
Table a bunch, and that's when I was a little, worried, because I know that was when you were, struggling a little bit with stuff.
Well, yeah, and for people that are worried, the health update and everything's going in the right direction and everything's fine. I've got this issue with my legs. You'll forgive me, Eric. I gotta do
not at all.
The public service announcement about what's going on with John. I have this vascular issue with my legs, circulation and stuff, and it's really this year at C2E2. My legs were killing me, and if I wasn't at a panel, I had to limit my walking. It really, really sucked, and it has never been that bad before. So I've been trying, because of the American medical system. You wait forever to finally see the right specialist. And 2 weeks ago, I had tests done, and they're like, "Yeah, there is something wrong with your legs." I'm like, "Yes, I know. Can we fix it, please?" They're like, "Yeah. You'll come back next for another referral, and then we'll tell you what we're going to do next." I'm like, "Okay," but the good news is they won't. It's slightly invasive, but not really bad. Like from what they tell me, it is very fixable, and literally just clearing out some arteries to get circulation moving down in my legs. And I hope to return to normal, because it's only going to help me lose more weight. Because truly, after only 1,000 steps, which isn't a lot. I mean, I can get around a shop. I can get around to work, clean the house, and do just basic stuff. But to walk more than a quarter mile hurts. And that's stupid. And it didn't. I mean, I used to be able to do 10,000 steps a day without even blinking. And now it's really a challenge. So, yeah, unfortunately, I missed you at C2E2. I'm sorry, man.
That's okay. I will see you. I will see you there next year if our paths don't cross some other way.
Please. I certainly hope so, man. And what other cons beyond New York have you got coming up?
So So I will not, I'm not setting up, but I will be walking around at Rose City this coming weekend. So
Great.
you know,
Okay.
I'll nudge Brian to get, the book club on the books so
Let him know.
we can
Yeah, absolutely.
get that
Jab
going.
him, man.
And then New York, and then C2E2 in Emerald City at the start of next year.
Beautiful, man. Outstanding. That's great. That's great. We'll say hi to all of our Portland friends.
Yes, I sure will.
So have you had face-to-faces with Brian in the past or no?
I have had brief interactions with Brian in person and on social media. The last time I really talked to him, I was still just a fan, and I was like getting my Ultimate Spider-Man, the OG hardcover, signed by him. So it'll be nice to talk to him on, a little bit more equal footing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, again, and remind him that, you were with us in the last book club and hanging out. And well, regardless, I think New York is October, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Second week in October. So.
Okay. So we'll have the book club before then. But that's great. And and again, you'll see him this weekend at Rose City. Well, that's wonderful. So but I will remind everybody that there are only 9 days left. Support Eric's amazing Atlantis. Wasn't built for tourists. It's the digest version of this great book that came out from Scout a while ago, but now it's back in that 5 by 8.5 format, and 2 extra stories if it wasn't interesting enough, and it already is. So I hope everyone will jump on this, and with 9 days to go as we're recording this, and give it a shot. Yeah, I'm telling you, folks, you'll love it. It's great action, great suspense, great supernatural stuff, and an interesting twist. And again, the cover gives you some indication of, these people don't know what they're dealing with, and they'll find out pretty goddamn fast. So very cool. Well done, Eric Palicki. It's always good to see you, man. And I appreciate you talking on a day where everybody else is kicking back. We're working. I don't know about the rest of you, lazy
freelancers are don't get Labor Day off. So.
Happened like that in radio, man. We were lucky if we got Christmas and Thanksgiving off, let alone the other holidays. So no, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And again, a reminder that coming up this week on Word Balloon tomorrow, our dear friend Philip Kennedy Johnson will be along to do his talk about the Hulk, and also what's happening in. Pardon me, I was having trouble again with my StreamYard, but also his new Superman book that's going to start very soon, and excited for that. And also on Wednesday, we'll talk Batman and more with Matt Fraction. All that is coming up right here on Word Balloon. Oh, my clothes isn't working, everybody. So we will just not give you the lady painting or the guy in front of the art gallery pointing out the Word Balloon painting and everybody applauding very kindly at the end, or some of the other usual goodbyes. So instead, for both the video and audio audience, I will ask you to stay safe, stay happy.